Hi there. Welcome to week 31 of reading. So, this week we will be getting back into our traditional reading class. So, we will be zooming on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, and we will be doing reading A to Z on Wednesdays and Friday. Now, this week we're going to wrap up the unit we've been talking about as far as living things go. And so we've been focusing on animals the past few weeks, but we're going to be talking about living things in general. So, not just animals, but also people. And what you can see here in front of us is this week's book, which is called Alaska, A Last Frontier. So, we're going to jump into that title this week and try to figure out what that means. Obviously, Alaska is one of the states of the United States, but that word last frontier, some of us may be confused by that. You've probably heard of that term in movies, but just really aren't sure what it is. What we're going to be focusing on, though, and if you know anything about Alaska, is that over the past several years, Alaska has gone through a lot of changes. And a lot of those changes have to deal with our planet and the condition of our planet. And we have talked about how in our science classes, how people can change the way the world works or the way the world acts if we don't do a better job of being more mindful of how we use our resources and how we treat our planet. So, we're going to be focusing and learning about that this week. Now, what I wanted to show you real quickly before we get into the reading of the story this week is I want to take a look at our table of contents. We know that important text feature at the table of contents will let us know where we can find certain things. So we can see on page 4, we're going to be able to take a look at Welcome to Alaska. So we'll get an idea of what's going on in Alaska. Page 5, we'll talk about Alaska's land. Page 9, Alaska's history. Page 13, Alaska today. Page 16, Alaska's beauty. And then, of course, on page 19, we will take a look at the glossary. So let's quickly go ahead and just show you the glossary. All right. And you can see this is where we're going to find those bold-faced words, those words that we are going to need to know. So this is where you'll want to do that. So you may want to take a look at this before we get started this week. The other reason I want to come back here is I see something called an index. We have never focused on an index before. It is another text feature, a very important text feature that is going to help us in finding certain things. So the index, as you can see, they have words like Anchorage, Aurora Borealis, Canada, Caribou. These words are specific words that you are going to find in the story, and these numbers next to them will show you on what pages you find those words. All right, so if you were doing a report on the different cities in Alaska, me being familiar with Alaska, I know Juneau and Anchorage are cities in Alaska, and I know what page numbers I could go to find information on that. So we're going to be using that index this week and talking about that a little more closely. The last thing I wanted to show you is when I get into the inside cover of the story, there is no focus question. So I wanted to just put that out here on the YouTube channel right now, what our focus question will be for this week. And our focus question is going to be about how we as people are changing our world for the bad. All right. And how places like Alaska are being impacted by us as people making poor decisions when it comes to how we treat our land and our environment. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into Monday's lesson, which will be a Zoom. So, remember, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, we're going to be Zooming at 10:20. Wednesday and Friday, log into Reading A to Z, read one story, take that quiz.